What's up, guys? Music Fan here, and welcome to my discography review of electronic ambient musician artist Moby. So, getting started with this discography review, this new discography review, we're going to be reviewing Moby's first studio album, simply titled Moby, released in 1992. So, let's just quickly get started with this new discography review and his first album. So, it has to be greatly said that within my particular musical experience, I'm not that familiar with techno, dance, or rave per se. Like up until a point, it hasn't been much of my forte. I think the last time I listened to techno or rave, or even remotely for that matter, I think was... Actually, I don't really remember. But definitely, I think there is no other record, at least for me, that can point ahead towards a perfect introduction to the world of techno and rave, even the early days of techno and rave, of like the late 80s, early 90s, than you get with Moby's first album, Moby. Now, it has to be said that Moby, of course, you might know Moby from, hold on, okay, sorry. First of all, you might know Moby from his more famously known album, Play, and a lot of the hit singles from that hit album, Play. Like, you might know him from the song Porcelain, or Southside, or Body Rock, or even Honey, for that instance, to like the Natural Blues. Like, everyone knows him by the album Play, and everyone kind of puts him with the album Play, and for one, it's personally one of my favorite personal electronic albums ever. But nobody really knows about his first album that much. Nobody knows about the dance, rave, hardcore techno scene that he came out of early in the 90s, that would ultimately be the foundation of his career. Nobody really knows that much about him, or probably they didn't know about him up until recently, maybe. But this is particularly like his starting point. His first album is strictly rave, techno, dance. Is of that particular genre, mainly of the underground techno rave scene, which happened around the early 90s, and it's kind of funny that in 1992 this was like the explosion of grunge music in the States. So the success of this album was only more or less due to like an underground cult following, or an underground cult status, but not so much in the wide exposure that he'll get with his album Play. But this album, at least even speaking for me as a first newcomer to the genre of rave and techno, is just absolutely bloody fantastic. It is absolutely superb, brilliant. It's like everything about this record, like especially when you consider Moby, is so unlike all his other works that he's going to do from here on in. Unlike all his other future studio works, and even recent studio works, this one is just strictly plays to Moby's basics, which is more or less techno, rave, like hardcore dance, hardcore rave, hardcore techno, hardcore electronica, excuse me. This album really plays a ton of the strengths of Moby's more dance influences on this particular album, and it really shows within the songs like Drop a Beat, songs like Next to the E, songs like Go, or even these songs are just simply just shimmering, pumping with just pure rush and pure adrenaline, like pure dance adrenaline. All these songs have like these explosive quality to them. All these songs have these explosive quality to them. You know, like, and the songs I even mentioned just now, especially have how they have these really pulsy, these really dancey qualities to all these songs. Most of these songs, like there are some ambient hints of ambience in this, and especially the last two songs. But I'll get to that later. So this is just a terrific album, you know, like, and me being more of a rock guy, me being more of a rock person, listening to more bands and more rock music, listening to this album for the first time really kind of was a fantastic introduction to the world of dance, rave, and techno for me. It was certainly challenging for me to kind of absorb a record that didn't have guitar or singing or drums or anything, or at least not actual drums, but more digital drums per se. But that's besides the point. The point is that this is a clearly fantastic album. It's a great dance techno album, even though it's the more earlier reminiscent of the more foundational beginnings of techno. This album sure is a fantastic blueprint towards the beginnings of the techno dance genre. If it's not the beginning, then it's certainly the fruits of the dance music scene. And Moby certainly was at the forefront of this movement, amongst others. And then there's not much precedence with songwriting with this album because there's absolutely no lyrics. You do get a little hints of gospel sampling, but it's not really that much. It's not to the extent that you'll see with his Play record, but it's certainly there in little snips and bits. Like especially more famously the song "Go," which has this Twin Peaks, very famous Twin Peaks sample as its hook, and that really kind of pushes that song to a really catchy and dancey sensibility to that song. So I've already gone 7 minutes, so let's go by the track by track review really fast. First song, Drop a Beat. Fantastic beginning, fantastic opener. It's just so electrifying. It's so pulsing. It's so dancey, and it has such a rush to it. You get like these really quick, fast, manic beats to it. This fast, manic rhythm with this song, and it's just a fantastic opener for this song. It's also a pretty weird one too, where you get like this crazy maniac guy yelling at the top of his lungs in this song, but still a fantastic song nonetheless. Everything is also like slightly more mid-tempo than Drop a Beat, but still no less electrifying, still no less pulsive, still no less pulsing with this dance adrenaline to it, this energy of the synthesized quality of this album. This album is more synthy. It's more akin to Moby's synthesizer and dance beats than as opposed to anything experimental that he'll do in his future work. But anyway, the third song, yeah, also a really good song. It's can't say that I have anything much to say about it because it's still a fantastic song. Electricity too, also another pulsing song, you know, like, and yeah, I can't say much about that song either. It's also another great dance song, which I superbly love. Next is the E. Next is the E. Again, another great song off this record. Has a real kind of real manic, dancey quality to it. Like it's slightly manic, but it also has like, you know, really slow, high pitched samples within this song, with just these racing, these pulsing rhythms and these pulsing beats and sensibilities with this song of what Moby tries to do with this song, and it's just nothing short of fantastic. Next song, Mercy. Mercy is like even slightly more mid-tempo than next is the E, and Mercy like it's a very long song. It's like I think probably stretching over 6 minutes, I believe. Not entirely sure, but But it's definitely one that after I listen to it the whole way through, by the end, I'm kind of thinking, like, okay, when is this song gonna end now? And my answer is pretty much clear when it heads into the next song, and probably Moby's most famous early song, Go. And Go is just, I don't need to explain it. Go is just a fantastic, fabulous dance song. Has a great catchy mid-tempo but catchy dance beat to it. Is also very synthesizy, sort of. Like, you also get like that very, famous Twin Peaks sample as its hook. You also get like little bits of a gospel sample in it, but just a little bit. You also get a bit of a piano thing going with this song, which is just absolutely fantastic. I absolutely adore this song. I truly love this song, and it's very also kind of like unlike the rest of the record too, which very accessible, very mid tempo, but yet still very catchy and very dancey. So that's pretty cool. Help Me to Believe. Help Me to Believe is also much more synthier than Go was, and like still is pretty dancey. Still has that mid tempo energy, and it's still just dancey. It's just still fantastic. Have You Seen My Baby? that song is just very, very weird. You still get this pulse driving beat, but at the same time you get this really weird guy in the song kind of saying like, "Have you seen my baby?" I mean, it's likely a sample, but it's kind of a little bit weird. Not to the song's detriment necessarily, but it's just kind of odd. Still a great song, by the way. The next song after that, I think that's how you say that. It's just this crazy, mad, pulsing song. It's a manic song. It's just very explosive. Immediately you just get pounded with these driving dance beats, and like just almost non-stop. That's the thing about this record. All the dance tracks just kind of hit you over and over and over again without even letting you stop, at least for the most part of the record. And that kind of gives this album like a real true dance energy to it. You just can't stop dancing to the songs of this album because it's so highly energetic, and that's what I think is really special and great about this album. And this song is no different. Slight Return. Slight Return is quite a different song from the other songs. It's also kind of mid-tempo, but at the same time it takes a very more subtle approach in it. It's still dancey. You still have these kind of like these broken synths going on as the driving force of the song. And it comes out like really mid-tempo, but really still great dancey quality to it. It's just really terrific. It's awesome. And the last song, Stream. Stream is probably is the most ambient of all the songs here. It's also kind of very minimal in a sense. Like it has this really hushed, this really chilled synthesizer going on, with these kind of little bit of bongos, tribal bongos going on. Like it's very, very much more understated than the rest of the album is. And in a way, it kind of points ahead to the future direction, the musical direction that Moby is going to take with his other work, especially with the second album and the third album. And yeah, future song in that instance. But it's very unique. Like this song and Slight Return is pretty unique, that in the sense that it kind of ends the record on a very chilled type of ambient note, as opposed to just having more dance songs just keep pounding you until you end up in submission. But it's still probably a terrific closer by that end. Just a fantastic closer to a really awesome dance album. Anyway, time for the 4-point grading system. Hopefully you guys know what this is already. First point, music originality. Um, let's go with the music originality quick. Fantastic music originality. And again, I'm fairly very new to the world of dance and electronica. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the more I submerge myself within the world of techno, electronic, and dance, I'll surely find other artists that I'll probably like even more than Moby. But I think I think this record is to my benefit in the sense that it's the record that is probably the perfect introduction to everything rave, dance, and techno, and it has a great originality, at least for me, because up until this point I'm like more of a rock person, even listening to rock songs that have a dance sensibility to them, but not pure dance or pure techno. And this album serves as a really perfect intro to that, at least for me. So this has fantastic originality for me. I should actually, I think for this review and maybe the next review is just going to be a 3-point grading system, because there are no lyrics to most of Moby's albums until his later work. So for now, for these first couple of albums, it's just going to be a 3-point grading system, just for your information. Anyway, taking out the songwriting section of this one, likability. This record I play quite so often. Whenever I get an inclination to kind of like, now I'm not a dance type of person. I don't go to any of the, dance parties per se, but this album is just perfectly awesome. Even if you don't go to any rave parties or anything like that, like it's a really great album. And I'm going out of my station here. Likability is just straight, like straight 4.5 out of 5 for likability. For the most part, I do listen to this record a lot, and I think the only part where I don't listen to the record is when I don't feel the inclination to submerge myself within the explosiveness of this album. But when I do, it's just a gigantic great trip. And I'm not talking about the druggy trip, I'm talking about the dance trip. And it's just awesome. It's just freaking great. As for the album as a whole, as a package, great. Fantastic. I can't say anything more about this first album. I think it's also unique in the sense that it's because it's just purely rave, dance, and techno, early dance, rave, and techno. It's something that Moby isn't really gonna focus on much for the rest of his future work. I mean, sure, on the album Everything Is Wrong, you do get a couple of rave techno tracks here and there on that third album, but for the most part, they're not really as prominent. They're more kind of like a blending of sorts between the first album and the second album, Ambient, which is much more understated. But that's when I get to that album review. But I find also unique that this record was released in the same year as the height of grunge music in the United States, which kind of is no surprise, as the album didn't become a phenomenal commercial success. At least in the States. I believe it was probably even more successful in Europe than in the States, which is always a plus. But either way, this record is just fantastic. It's probably my favorite dance album, techno album, hardcore rave album that I have ever listened to. And it's an album that has given me, in a sense, like new perspective, a new musical perspective. And it's not just simply about rock music or even just pop music or hip hop. It's this album is kind of like open a new door for me, a musical door, at least from my perspective. And it's definitely a challenging record. At least was a challenging record for me. But I've reaped the benefits, and now for me, it's just a fantastic album. Straight 5 out of 5 for me. One of his best and one of my personal favorites ever. So, leave your comments on the comment section down below. Tell me what you think. And do you like the album? Do you not like the album? Why? And that's it. Moby, self-titled, dance rave, techno album, awesome album, and that's pretty much it. It's the Music Fan. Take care, guys. Signing out. See you guys later.